It sounds like, did your microphone go off?
I just moved my microphone
Oh,
while I'm working on the
there it
computer.
is. Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, we're live.
Like, did your microphone go off?
I just moved my microphone.
There it is.
Alrighty, we are live on YouTube. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Uh, Florida, feel free to drop in the chat box where you are calling in from. I so happy to be able to tap with folks around the world and, clear fear and stress from the collective whole. That's what I really love about these YouTube lives as we get to pull together people around the world and lower stress and raise the positive vibration of the planet. So thank you all for taking part of that. Uh, Ciao from Italy, New Jersey, Brisbane. Dr. Silas is joining us from Germany, from Wiesbaden. I'm in Sacramento. We have Los Angeles in the house. Awesome, awesome. So grateful for everyone who is joining us live here. Um, yes, we are here to shift anxiety to safety. So well manifested, Ashley.
Yes.
London, Germany, New York, India. I just got off a call with a bunch of people in India. So very late there. And all right, I got a bunch of folks here. So thank you all so much for joining us for some tag team tapping. As I said, I'm really enjoying this series that I created with my good friend Evan Greger, where I get to come on and tap with you live, but also bring on a colleague of mine and share some different ways of tapping, different ideas. So it's not just not just my stuff, but other stuff. So very excited to bring to you today Dr. Damon Silas. I met Damon some years back. We were both. It must have been through the Tapping World Summit through the Ordners
I believe
that
so, yeah.
was introduced to you, and we collaborated on some South Carolina and Nigeria. Awesome.
Oh, wow.
So I very happy that you could join me. Damon's in Germany right now working with service members. So thank you very much for your service to those doing service. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. I'm
So
excited to be here. Yeah.
and so the topic that you've chosen for today is
So the topic that I've chosen is tapping through the fear and anxiety and worry that comes along with change and transition. And one of the reasons why I chose that is because I see that a lot with the service members that I work with. There's always so much change and a lot that people aren't in control of. And so I thought about that. And then on top of that, kind of everything that's going on globally around us, there seems to be constant change. And so I figured there are probably some people out there who might be able to benefit from that topic.
maybe a few. I'm
Yeah,
probably
you know, a
find
couple.
5 or 6 out of 8 billion that might be struggling with change.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love this
Yeah,
because I think that's one of the main things that stops us in any area of life, whether it's creating a life that we want or just dealing with what's going on. That fear, because
absolutely.
My friend Andy Bryce says everyone wants things to be different. They just don't want anything to change because change is
That's
scary
it.
at a very deep level. We say we want change, but it's scary at a deep level, and we don't even realize how much it blocks us, how much anxiety it might create, and there's no escaping it. Change is inevitable. We're constantly changing it in subtle ways.
Yeah, the only constant is change. And
Yeah.
and I think even helping people remember that, that we are always changing. They may be subtle changes, but just remembering like we are always changing and we've made it this far. Um, you know,
Yes.
thankfully,
I can
thankfully.
handle change. I always have handled. But knowing that
Right?
logically is one thing. It's being able to clear the stress and the
It's
fear around that so that we really take that message in. And
That's right.
that's what we're here for today. So everyone go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it and let it go. Now just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Go ahead and feel your feet on the floor or whatever part of you is connected to something. Allow yourself to feel that connection. Allow yourself to feel centered and grounded. Allowing yourself to be right here, right now, as present as possible so as to receive maximum benefit from this hour together. And just following your breath through your body, just allow yourself to be aware of what's going on in there. Notice what you're feeling physically and what you're feeling emotionally. Notice where you might already be feeling anxiety, stress, fear around transition, around changes that are happening, changes that you see coming, or changes that you're in the middle of, or maybe recent changes that you're still struggling with. Allow yourself to think about changes that you would like to see happen personally, professionally, physically, financially. What would you like to have be different in your life? And as you think about that change, again, notice in your body where you might be feeling resistance, doubt, fear. Allow yourself to be aware of any thoughts, beliefs, or memories that might come up as to why you couldn't or shouldn't allow this change, why you couldn't or shouldn't handle that change. Just allow yourself to get curious. As much as possible, let go of any judgment. Just allow yourself to be curious about what might be showing up, where you might be hanging on to some resistance and fear about change. Take a deep breath, open your eyes, and Dr. Silas, I will turn it over to you for the first tapping round, please. You're still muted.
So I was in
There you go. You
it.
were just so much in the
Uh,
zone.
yes. I was just saying, thank you so much for that. You're so good at what you do, and just being able to help people center, including myself. And as we tune in and tap into those parts of our bodies that get activated when we think about change, that get activated when we think about transition, whatever it is we are going through personally, professionally, as you said, thinking about financially what people might be going through, or even just as I alluded to earlier, thinking about everything that's going on in the world, right? And kind of thinking about all the change and the transition that's happening so quickly. And at times it can feel overwhelming. And so I would ask everybody tuning in right now and anybody who is watching this to just tune in and notice where that fear, worry, anxiety, where that may show up in your body as you think about that particular change or those transitions that you have in your life right now. And as you identify even that emotion identified with that or associated with that, excuse me, let's just go ahead and start by tapping on that issue and repeating to yourself or out loud, even though I have all this change going on around me, and a lot of anxiety and worry around it. I don't know what to expect next. And I still choose to honor all of my emotions around this. Good. Even though I have all this anxiety around all the things that are changing in my life right now, or all that's on the horizon. And I notice it in my body. And I still deeply and completely accept myself. And I choose to honor all the emotions that come up around change. And even though there's so much worry about what's next, I don't know what to expect. It's uncomfortable. And I don't like to be uncomfortable. It does not feel good to me. And I notice it in my body. My body is telling me how uncomfortable it is. And that's okay. That's information. And I choose to thank my body for letting me know that something is about to happen, for helping me to prepare for the change that's coming. So let's start with the inside the eyebrow. All this change worry. Good. And outside the eye, all this worry about what's coming up. And underneath the eye, I don't know what to expect. Underneath the nose. And that scares me. Good. On the chin, it feels really uncomfortable. Collarbone. Collarbone, when I think about all this change that's going on underneath the arm, part of me is open to this change. And top of the head. And part of me wants to hold on to what is familiar and inside the eye, to what is known outside the eye, because that feels a little more comfortable to me. Underneath the eye. And I don't like feeling uncomfortable. Underneath the nose. But what if this change could have some positives to it? Chin. I've gone through change before. Collarbone. And there aren't many positives that come along with it. Underneath the arm. There are some. As I've gained some distance between myself and that change, top of the head, I can see some of the good inside the eye. And it's still uncomfortable outside the eye. And I've done uncomfortable things before underneath the eye. And here I am. I'm okay underneath the nose. And I've learned some things. I've learned a lot from change. Chin. Some lessons I'm okay keeping. Collarbone, and some lessons I'd rather throw away. Good underneath the arm. And I get to choose. Because even as it feels like I'm out of control, top of the head, and I'm at the mercy of all this change inside the eye, there are still some things I can control outside the eye. I can control my reactions and my responses underneath the eye. I can control how I choose to view this situation. underneath the nose. So even as it's uncomfortable, chin, I'm choosing to remember I still have a choice, collarbone, and how I respond to this change. And it can be scary underneath the arm, or it can be exciting. It can be something I don't want, top of the head, or it can be an adventure. And I get to choose how I look at it. Good, inside the eye. So sometimes I can look at it positively, outside the eye, or in a neutral way. Doesn't have to be all roses and butterflies and but I get to choose. Chin, even when some of my control is not there. Collarbone, even when somebody else might be in control of the other stuff underneath the arm, I get to choose my internal response. Top of the head, and I choose to honor that. Good. Let's take a deep breath in and letting go. Yeah. And I'd invite everybody to just tune in and see what you notice, what shifted.
Yeah, close your eyes, go inside, see what's going on in there. Um, that was awesome, Damon. There's so many things like, oh, I got to comment on, oh no, I have to comment on this. So I can't even remember now all the things that I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to.
I know it was a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no, it was awesome. It was so awesome. There was so many things that, but that last thing about, how we handle it, and folks, you can, you know, uh, comment on what's coming up. Just notice, or and as anyone who's been on any of these calls with me knows, I tend to tap collarbone, but you can tap other points and just take
Mhm.
advantage of this whole hour while we're here for the sake of tapping. Spend this entire time clearing stuff out. Um, I had a comment on a YouTube video the other day from a woman who was going in for some tests for cancer, and she was
Mhm.
very afraid of the results. And a friend of hers, the friend's dad was a physician, and from his wisdom, he said, "It's just another experience."
Mm. Mm.
When we can look at life and just go, you know, as Hamlet said, nothing's either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And if we
Yes,
just say it's another experience, so we look at the change, whether it's change that's happening right now or change that we are looking at and going, how am I going to handle that? And go, whatever it is, whatever the consequences might be, it's just another experience. And that's what I came here for. I came here for
that's
experiences.
experience.
And as you had mentioned in that round, we grow, we get lessons, and we have that choice
Mhm.
to say, here's a lesson that's worth keeping. And here's a lesson I could probably throw out. And I'm
That's
giving
right.
myself permission
Yeah.
to throw that out now because part of me said, no, hold on to it. Even if it's wrong, hold on to it.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, let's just jump into another round now. Even though I doubt I can handle change, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid I won't be able to handle the change, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though part of me says, I don't know what this change will look like, and I'm not sure I'll be able to handle it. So even if my current circumstances were totally crappy, this crap is familiar. I may not be handling it gracefully, but I am handling it. And I doubt that I can handle change. And even though I have these doubts about handling change, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, and maybe anyone else who contributes to this fear. All this fear of change, all this resistance to change, because of all this fear that I couldn't handle it. If the change isn't wonderful, I'm afraid I won't be able to handle that. I'm afraid there might be pain. I'm afraid there might be disappointment. I'm afraid of all kinds of discomfort. And there are some changes I'd like to make, or at least I say I would like to make them. And part of me says, even if this change went as well as I would hope, it would mean things would be different. And I'm not sure I could handle that. If I created the most positive change in my life, part of me says that would be wonderful. And part of me says, oh crap, I don't know if I could handle that. So part of me works overtime to stop change from happening. I might want a change in my financial situation, but I'm not sure I could handle that. So I'm stopping it from happening. I might want some changes in my health. And because of old programming, part of me says that might not be safe. So I make sure I stay right where I'm at. Even if it doesn't seem ideal. There are parts of me that will take familiar over ideal every day. And I choose to love and appreciate those parts of me that really believe they're protecting me. All this fear that I can't handle the change. It's not that I'm bad or stupid. It's not that I'm weak or lazy. It just means that I have old programming about why it's not safe. And I'm processing this fear. I choose to clear it at a cellular level, clearing it from every fiber of my being, and clearing it all the way back through my past, back through all the times in my life where I felt that I didn't handle change well, where I felt the change was too uncomfortable. And part of me might have decided, yeah, let's make sure we don't go through this again. I can't stop change across the world, but if I can at least limit it in my own life, I'm going to try to do that. And I choose to love and appreciate those parts of me for trying to keep me safe. And even if I didn't handle it well in the past, that doesn't mean that I can't handle it better. I choose to recognize that I did handle it. I have handled every change that has ever happened in my life. Maybe not always as gracefully as I would have liked, but I'm still here, which means that I handled it. So I choose to have more confidence in myself. I can handle change. So I'm allowing myself to make more positive changes. I can direct a lot of the change in my life. And I can also change how I feel about what happens. So I'm clearing what doesn't feel like peace and allowing myself to have a lot more confidence in myself, in body, mind, and spirit. And take a deep breath. Close your eyes, go inside. Let that rattle around. And just following your breath to your body. Notice what you feel physically and what you feel emotionally. And notice how you're, in terms of the subject of change, whether it's changes you're seeing happening right now, changes that you'd like to create, changes that you're afraid will happen. Just see how your body is feeling at the moment. And feel free to share things in the comments. And, uh, and Damon will take us through the next round.
Oof. There was so much there. Kind of to echo what you said, Brad, which is it's beautiful. And I felt myself really like easing into, there was like this easing into whatever change is there, like I'll be okay. Um, so thank you for helping that. Like it just felt like peace. Um, and I think about one of the concepts that you brought up as you were tapping is the whole idea of sometimes we hold on to things. And I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day about family members being sick, and we were discussing this idea of like secondary gain of sometimes people hold on to those things because actually change for the better might feel scary to let go of that part of our identity that we may have identified with. So if, we've been sick all our lives, like what would it mean to change to being somebody who's healthy?
Yes.
If we've been financially insecure all our lives, what would it mean to really step into financial security? Like it's overwhelming and it's so
Yes.
scary to let go of that old identity.
Who am
Um,
I without this issue?
without,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
because so it's like there's that part of us that knows we want that positive change, but then there's that part that is so scared to let go of that idea of what would it mean if I were to step into this new way of being.
I see
And I think,
someone on here. I know some folks here who are just with me in the group in India, and I took them
Mhm.
through a tapping run. I did this thing of if I allowed this to happen for myself, I might get up in the morning, look in the bathroom mirror, and call 911 to report a stranger in my house.
Yes, exactly. Like I don't recognize this person, you know?
This person is way too powerful and way too sexy. That couldn't be me.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. I know it's the I think Marianne Williamson has a quote that's just about our overall fear is not that it's not about like dimming our light, but it's
Our
like
deepest
how
fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
beyond measure.
I have a
That's it.
video where you tap along through that quote. Yeah. I have that quote on my
Oh,
wall in the house. Yeah.
we're
Brilliant.
on the same page, Brad.
Yeah.
But that's it. It's scary and it's frightening to even acknowledge that. And so um I guess we can kind of go along with that. I don't know if you have any other ideas that
No,
are
I
popping up.
I think that's awesome. I'm so glad you brought that up because every so often I go through these cycles of here's what's most important. Here's what's most important. And every so often I come back to it's identity. It all comes down to identity. And the quote from Dr. Joyce Brothers of you will never perform consistently in a manner that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. If I
Mm,
see myself as a couch potato, trying to exercise is always going to be a burden and I'm never going to stick with it.
that's right.
But if I recognize who I really am, so I always use Michelangelo's David about,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
masterpiece is there hidden under the marble. You are
Yes.
not defined by your circumstances, your money issues, your health issues. That's not who you are. You are a magnificent child of the universe. And as we allow ourselves to clear away this belief that, my illness, my chronic illness, my debt, my whatever is who I am. My inability to stay in a relationship, I guess that's just who I am. It's like, no, that's
Right.
that's 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 you're not defined by your circumstances. You're not defined by your past. However, your current circumstances have been created by how you were defining yourself because you're
Mm.
taking actions based on who you have most likely falsely believed yourself to be. So yeah, I would love for you to take it through an identity tapping and clear that stuff.
Oof. Yeah. Which is actually really timely. I just had this conversation with a client yesterday, referencing that same thing, Michelangelo's David. Yeah. That the core of who you are has always been there. It's just a matter of um getting to that, getting back to it. Um, so let's go on to the next round, which is even though there's the part of me that is terrified of change and what it would mean for how I identify myself, it would be so different from how I know myself now. And that's scary. And I choose to honor my feelings around this. Yeah. Even though part of me wants to change, is ready for change, and the other part of me wants to hold on to those old ways because the unknown is scary, especially the amount of power and light I have that's unknown to not just me, but to everybody else around me. And that's scary. And I honor my feelings around this. Yeah, even though I know it's time for change, I know change would benefit me. And it's still scary because I don't know who I would become or who I would return to by making this change. And I choose to honor all parts of me in this process. It's starting with the inside, the eye. I do want to change outside the eye. And I want to hold on to that which is familiar underneath the eye. I want to hold on to those old ways underneath the nose, even though I get that they may not be serving me to the fullest. Chin, but they've gotten me this far. Collarbone. So if I let go of those old ways, that belief that has gotten me this far underneath the arm, I feel like I'd be betraying that part of me. Top of the head. I'd be betraying that part of my identity that has kept me protected inside the eye, that has kept me safe outside the eye, that has gotten me this far in life underneath the eye. So if I let go of that old part, that's disrespectful. Chin, that is rude to that part of me who has done a lot of work to get us here. Collarbone. But what if I don't have to let go of that part completely underneath the arm? It can still come along for the ride. Top of the head. But what if that old way of being doesn't have to take the driver's seat inside the eye? True, it's gotten me this far outside the eye with some erratic driving underneath the eye. And I'm tired of being scared or going around in circles, hoping that this route changes on this old way of operating. Collarbone. So I can politely take over the steering wheel underneath the arm while asking that old part of me, or that part of me, I should say, to just take the back seat for a moment. Top of the head, because I appreciate that part of me for taking me this far, for getting me this far inside the eye. And the now me recognizes outside the eye that no longer works right now underneath the eye. And so even though I'm scared to let that part go underneath the nose, change is scary. Of course I'd be scared. Why wouldn't I be scared? Chin. And to make the change while being scared, collarbone, is the definition of courage underneath the arm. To do something in the face of fear is bravery. Top of the head. What if I can honor that part of me? Listen to that part of me just a little bit more inside the eye. That part of me that is ready for change outside the eye. Even with all it entails underneath the eye, I can choose to honor the bravery within me underneath the nose. I can choose to honor the courage that's within me. Chin, and recognize just showing up today. That shows I'm ready for change. Collarbone. And change is one step at a time. Underneath the arm. It doesn't happen overnight. Top of the head. That old identity that's gotten me this far inside the eye did not happen overnight. Outside the eye, it has taken some years to solidify this way of being underneath the eye. So maybe I can give myself grace underneath the nose and making changes one step, chin, one moment, one belief at a time. Collarbone. It doesn't have to happen overnight underneath the arm. And I can still recognize when small changes do happen. Top of the head, because it's the small changes that add up inside the eye to the new me outside the eye, to new beliefs, to new ways of being. Good underneath the nose. So I'm choosing to honor the bravery and courage within me as I explore these new ways of being and still remember that old part of me that wants to hold on and wants to keep driving that bus. And thank you, but I've got it from here. I've got it from here. Good. Let's take a deep breath in and let go. And
Yeah, but just close your eyes, go inside, and just let that stuff rattle around. Let that stuff settle. So much great stuff in there. And just see what's moving around, what ideas are coming up. Thinking about again changes that are happening or changes that you would like to have happen, and notice what you're feeling in your body as you think about that. Um, so difficult to smile at the end, but I did manage to smile a bit. Feeling calm now. Excellent. Yeah. I'm not afraid about change in general. I'm fearful I won't be able to succeed in changing. Yeah. So it's whatever aspect that is. So it's always looking at that and noticing we have a resistance to the idea that we have resistance.
right.
Um, it's like when you say, okay, I create my vision board and I put up this and it's a change. It's different than what I have now. And I always come from the standpoint of the extent to which we don't have what we say we want tends to be the extent to which we're resisting it. People are saying, "Oh no, I'm not resisting that." It's like, and that's a brilliant way to stay stuck in the familiar. If I don't acknowledge the
Yep.
resistance, then I can't clear the resistance. Then I don't have to deal with the change and all the consequences I'm afraid of. It's brilliant. It's not
Mhm.
not judging or shame. It's just looking and going, "Oh, I am too smart for my own good sometimes."
Mhm.
I'm brilliantly stopping myself from being able to look at here's here's what's going on in there.
Yeah.
And that's why someone asked about the tap in the collarbone, and I don't know if you wrote that before I explained that I just like to use the entire time to be clearing stuff, even when we're not doing a formal tapping round. Just
Mm,
letting resistance go. As first thing in the morning, I'm tapping, and I'll and often tap on
yep.
resistance. And it's not that I wake up in a bad mood and I have something to clear. I just wake up
Mhm.
in a figure, just in case there's any part of me that might resist things going really well today.
That's right.
I'm going to clear that out. It's like, when I worked in a restaurant, before we opened the restaurant, we wiped the tables. Even though we wiped them when we closed the restaurant the night before, I'm not going
Mm,
to say, well, they're already clean. I don't want to, don't want to get them too clean. It's always, nothing so clear that it can't get more so. Penny,
mm,
great comment. Drinking water is a very good thing to do while doing energy work to stay hydrated. So,
yep. I always have mine
yep.
right next to me. Yeah.
Big
Yes.
old thing of water, always hydrating. Just in general, none of us is most of us are not drinking as much water as we should in general. But definitely
Exactly.
when we're doing energy work, it's a good idea.
I always have mine. Yep. Right. Oops, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all right.
Uh,
Um, yeah. I'm going to do just a speed round here. Even though I might still have some fear of change, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I might still have some fear of change, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I might still have some fear of change, still have some ideas about why it wouldn't be safe, about how I couldn't handle it, about how other people might not handle it. And they'll make it uncomfortable for me. Even though I might still have some fear of change, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, and maybe anyone else who might be involved in this, because I choose to feel that free. All this remaining fear of change, all this remaining fear that I couldn't handle it, all this remaining anxiety, as I look at changes that I want to make, as I look at changes that are happening, I choose to feel peace. Because as Damon said earlier, I get to choose how I feel. Part of me says I should be afraid. When I look at changes that I'm making or changes that I have no control over, I'm obliged to be upset. It's a rule that I have to feel uncomfortable. And as I allow myself to relax with tapping, I'm giving myself permission to ask the question, how is that helping? When I look at changes happening in the world, is anyone looking to see if it upsets me and saying, oh, we're so sorry, we'll stop? With changes going on in politics, changes going on in society, is my upset stopping any of that? It limits my ability to think clearly. There are changes I might not be able to stop, but I can choose how I navigate those changes. I can succeed with these changes. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage and whatever else it might take to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Clearing these fears. And these fears about how other people will respond, these fears that if I make positive changes, if I change how I show up, if I allow myself to be a more powerful version of myself, people will judge me. But if I don't show up as my most powerful self, there are people who will judge me for that too. There are over 8 billion people on the planet. There is no way for me to show up and get universal approval. I'm going to be judged no matter what. So I choose to create the most awesome life. I choose to feel as awesome as possible. Let other people tap on their judgment. I'm setting myself free to make things better in body, mind, and spirit. And take a deep breath. With your eyes closed, just allow yourself to be aware of what's going on in there. Just let that rattle around. And, maybe go ahead. I always like to end these sessions with a guided imagery. So we'll just slide into that guided imagery right now. We are about 5 minutes to the top of the hour. So for anyone who does have someplace they have to be at the top of the hour, you might want to take this opportunity to drop off the line. And I hope that you'll, maybe save the URL of this video so you can come back and tap with us again. But if you have to leave before the guided imagery, I hope you'll come back and allow yourself to check it out because it's very nurturing for body, mind, and spirit. So thank you. If you have to leave, thank you so much for joining us. And check out in the when you have a chance, check out in the description box below. I have a link to an interview that I did with Damon some years back, and has a link to his resources in his book. So uh, if you've already been on the line, you may have to refresh the page to find that. um, so thank you so much for joining us. If you have a few more minutes to hang out with us, then please go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Just keeping your eyes closed, get yourself comfortable. Take a deep breath in and hold it, and let it go. Another deep breath in and hold it, and let it go. A third deep breath in and hold it, and let it go. Now, just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Breathing comfortably, and just imagine that with each breath you take in, You breathe in relaxation and positive energy. Go ahead and imagine a healing light of whatever color you like surrounding your body, so that with each breath you take in, your lungs comfortably draw in that healing light, allowing it to flow through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. Imagine a healing shower flowing down crystal clear water that's a perfect temperature as it flows over the top of your head, soothing and relaxing your scalp, washing away fear, doubt, anxiety, washing away anger, sadness, guilt, shame, washing away pain, frustration, disappointment, embarrassment, washing these away to reveal the light that you truly are. This unique expression of divine light and love, allowing more and more of that light to be revealed as that healing shower flows over your forehead, relaxing the muscles in your face, flowing down over the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, washing away tension, leaving your shoulders calm, comfortable, and relaxed. That healing shower flowing down your arms, all the way down over your fingertips, down over your chest and your stomach, soothing and relaxing, healing and cleansing, and allowing yourself to remain comfortably in whatever position you choose. Allow that healing shower to flow down over your upper and lower back. And as your torso relaxes, your internal organs comfortably do whatever they need to do to achieve and maintain your optimal level of health and well-being in body and mind. As that healing shower continues down over your body, down over your hips and your thighs, over your knees, down your lower legs, through your ankles, into your feet. And finally, that relaxation flows over your toes as you allow yourself to relax twice as much, going at least twice as deep with each number as I count backwards: 5, drifting down to 4, floating down to 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. Remembering that each and every time you hear me say the words deep sleep, with your permission and only with your permission, you allow yourself to return to this depth or even deeper, 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 quickly, soundly, deeply, and the physical body relaxes. And with that relaxation comes a wonderful sense of calm well-being of body and mind, deeper, deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. And in this calm, comfortable state of mind and body, go ahead and imagine yourself in some really beautiful place. Some place where you allow yourself to be present to the beauty, the magnificence, the abundance of creation. Some place where you allow yourself to remember that this abundance, this beauty, this magnificence is here for you as much as it is for anyone else. Allowing yourself to be compassionate with any past version of yourself that has been in a place that might not have been so beautiful and might have believed that that's who you were, that that's what you deserved, that that's all that was possible for you. And with love and compassion, allow those doubts and misunderstandings to melt away. And again, allow yourself to be in a really beautiful place. Could be a place that you know or a place completely of your own imagination. And allow yourself to know that you are a magnificent child of the universe, worthy and deserving of the best this world has to offer. There is nothing that is too good for you. And allowing yourself to be loving and appreciative towards that part of you that says, but it's unfamiliar. It's not what I'm used to. That part of you that wants to cling to what you're used to, what you're familiar with. that part that says, I can't handle change. And allowing yourself to be in this beautiful place, allowing yourself to breathe in fresh air, allowing yourself to keep relaxing with each breath that you take. I want you to imagine a movie screen appears in this place. And on that screen, you can see yourself going through changes. Maybe you can see yourself learning to walk as a baby. See yourself as an infant crawling on the floor and then learning to walk, and you stand up and you fall down. And allowing yourself to send so much love and gratitude to that younger self for not saying, hey, crawling got me this far. I'm doing fine on my hands and knees. This is good enough. Standing up feels too difficult. It's too different. That was a change that you successfully navigated. For anyone who has that, is comfortable walking now. For anyone for whom that's not the case, allow yourself to be aware of other images where you have successfully managed change. You could even allow yourself to consider the possibility that you have always successfully managed change. It may not be what you consciously thought you wanted to do. It may not be how you consciously would have liked to have handled it. But however you've handled any change in your life, some part of you said, this is the way I'm meant to handle it. This is how I should respond and react to this. Based on old programming, based on old misunderstandings. And allow yourself to just send so much love and appreciation to these past parts of you for handling change the best you could. And knowing that that's who you were then. And you have it within you to handle change in much more empowering ways, much healthier ways, and giving yourself the freedom to create the positive changes you wish to see. And giving yourself the freedom to feel as strong and healthy as possible in the midst of changes that might not be within your control. But you get to decide how you respond to it. You get to decide how you show up in the midst of this change, allowing yourself to be the most powerful version of yourself as you navigate the changes in life. Allowing yourself to feel more confident in your ability to do so, such that you give yourself greater freedom to create positive changes. Just allow that confidence to grow in every fiber of your being as we go even deeper now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 0 is deep sleep. In a moment, I'll count you back out from 0 up to 5. 5 will be wide awake, alert, focused, and energetic, feeling much better than before, feeling much more confident in yourself, much more confident in your ability to manage change, feeling a greater freedom and excitement about creating positive changes in your life that benefit you and others. And remembering that no matter how other people might respond to your changes, your success actually benefits other people, even if they're slow to realize it. Tonight, when you choose to go to sleep, don't be surprised when you fall asleep quickly, soundly, deeply, and sleep very well through the night. During the night, you'll dream. The more you dream, the stronger you become. I'm going to ask your unconscious mind to allow at least one of your dreams to be a very healing dream. Continuing this healing process in body, mind, and spirit so that in the morning, at the time you've chosen to wake up, you wake up easily, feeling refreshed, energetic, and ready to start the day again, powerfully moving forward into an ever more joyful experience of an ever greater abundance of health, wealth, happiness, and love, which are your birthright. and which benefit others. Now go back down to zero, which is always deep sleep, allowing your mind, body, and spirit to digest all of these positive thoughts and images, taking them in at a very deep level so that these positive changes occur easily, effortlessly, and naturally. Coming up to one, feeling physically relaxed. Two, feeling emotionally calm and confident. Three, health and well being, enthusiasm, love, joy, and gratitude flowing through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. Four, becoming more and more alert and aware of your surroundings. And five is eyes open, wide awake. One, two, three, four, five, eyes open, wide awake. One, two, three, four, five, eyes open, wide awake, and welcome back. Thank you for all the comments. Unfortunately, when we're doing these, it's impossible to read all of them. I'm going to comment on just two. One person mentioned, I'm very much resistant to doing EFT despite it's helping me. Yes, that's why you're resisting it, because it's that fear of change, that part that says, "Wow, this tapping is helping me feel better. It's creating change in my life. That doesn't feel safe. I better knock it off." So, create certain ways, have a checklist, have an accountability partner who to remind you, that hold you accountable to keeping at it to where it feels more and more comfortable. And someone else said, "I'm afraid of the changes coming in my 30s." And I can tell you from my personal thing, my 30s were so freaking awesome. In my 30s, I got married, I had my two kids, I learned about EFT. I I wish you the kind of awesome 30s that not that there weren't challenges, but my 30s were also very challenging in many ways, but all the beginnings of the best things in my life happened in my 30s. So I wish that for you. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Damon, so much for joining me. It's so awesome to hang out with you again, and thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy as always. Yeah, thank you to everybody for joining.
Awesome, awesome. All right, folks. Uh, More tag team tapping coming on Monday. I'll be tapping with Dr. Dawson Church, who's done some of the great research on EFT. I Next week is Thanksgiving, and the day after Thanksgiving is Black Friday, and like so many other people, I'll be doing a Black Friday sale next week, so be sure to check that out. And yeah, thank you again so much for joining Damon and myself to up level the positive energy on the planet. Bless you for that, and spread the good word.